Hey everybody. Hopefully this is coming through. I'm just waiting to check that because we just had our internet cut out. Cool. Looks like it is. Welcome along and welcome to my first stream. This is very cool. I've just barely got everything set up, so hopefully this goes well and hopefully my microphone stays connected because it's been a little bit iffy with the cable. But today we're going to be starting to do some shiny hunting live streaming for an upcoming video that I'm going to be doing. We are going to be shiny hunting members for an adventuring party. So let me bring this up. So these are the Pokemon I've picked out right now. These could change as we go, but today's one I'm going to be shiny hunting for a Simi-Sage for our Druid character. So if you guys have any ideas of what you think would be really cool to have as the different members, let me know. Those are flexible. Obviously today I'm starting shiny hunting this one, so that one is set in stone. But let me know if you guys have any ideas. That would be really cool. I do need to adjust. I can see here. I feel like I need to adjust one of my cameras, but that's fine. I can do that next time. Let's jump over here. So I'm going to be hunting for Simi-Sage. Where should we go for this? There was an area that I wanted to try just over here. There's some trees, I think with about, I think it's 3 trees that all get various elemental monkeys in them. So we're going to try bench resetting for that. So, oh, not that way. This way. There we go. So I'm going to see how that goes. So the purpose of this, excuse me, the purpose of this challenge is I'm wanting to do, nope, I'm on the wrong rooftop. Actually, I flew to the right center. I ran to the wrong elevator. It's this elevator. Here we go. All right. Yes. So there's 3 trees here. So let's go down and have a look. 1, 2, 3 elemental monkeys. I believe. So this will be the furthest one away. We'll go and see. I'm lost. That way. We'll go see how close to the bench that is. I think all 3 of them are within reach. So we'll give that a go. See how that pans out. Oh, and it's nighttime. I do wish these transitions could be a little bit faster, to be fair, like the amount of times that I see these, obviously with just playing the game in general and with like doing resets and stuff for shiny Pokemon, they can get a little bit annoying. Just a little bit. Be gone. Alright, so in front of here. Oh yeah, that's within the 50-meter range, which is perfect. Let me grab this. And we will start resetting. Doing a little GT with, where do I need to hold this so you guys can see it? A rubber band on the controller there. I just hold the down position to keep walking towards the, walking towards the seat. I don't mind the button spamming, but having to hold that down all the time does get a little bit annoying. Much easier to do this single-handedly. So I've got a few ideas of what I'd like to do for these sorts of streams. I'm wanting to be able to create some really nice art pieces for just different kinds of Pokemon and different scenarios. So in this particular case, I'm shiny hunting for a adventuring party team, and I want to do kind of like a poster sort of style image showcasing like the big bad guy in the adventuring party and all that, which I think would be quite cool. And after which then come up with a new theme that I can shiny hunt some Pokemon for. As turns out I've quite enjoyed shiny hunting in this game. I haven't done shiny hunting in other games before. I know it's a lot harder in some other games. I'm working towards my shiny decks at the moment, which actually if we stop for a moment. So I'm starting to fill up most of the slots now. I've been working through kind of zone by zone. Excuse me. I'd collected a lot just randomly, but now I've started kind of going through zone by zone, and there we go. Going through zone by zone. Let me get this rubber band sorted again. Lovely. And catching all the shiny Pokemon in that zone, including copies of them to evolve, and just slowly filling out the shiny decks, which I've really enjoyed doing. I do think that it's... I haven't done shiny hunting in other games before. I've watched a lot of shiny hunting in other games before. So I am aware that it is easier in this game and that it saves the last 10 shinies that you load. But if anything, I feel that kind of makes things more fun. Like there's, or at least less stressful. We'll call it that. Be interested to know if you guys have done any shiny hunting before. Like I said, this game is the first game that I've done it, and in my playthrough, considering we got like, I didn't really have a team picked out for this game, and as I was playing through, I still didn't have any idea. And once I got Area 12 unlocked and I saw there was Snowrun, I was like, I have to get a shiny Frostlass. I don't think it's the best shiny in the world, but excuse me, but it's a case of the shiny to me, even though it's just like the pink band around the waist, like that's the only difference, it looks better. Sorry, let me readjust these. I feel like they're falling off. To me, it feels like it just looks better than the standard Frostlass. So I had, since seeing that in Generation, was it Generation 4? In Generation 4 it came out. Since seeing it there, I was like, I really want to use this Pokemon on my team, but if I'm going to get it, I want to get a shiny one because I just think it's the better looking one. So I just never used it. So when I got Wild Zone 12 and I could get an Ice type like significantly sooner in the game than anticipated, I immediately was like, okay, I'm going to shiny hunt for a female Snowrun. I didn't know a lot about the mechanics at the time of doing that, and I started watching shiny hunting videos and learning those mechanics. But I basically got nearly everything else within the spawn radius of where I was doing the resets to shine before I got it. So I got Delibird, Go-Goats, Vanillite. I got 2 male Snorunt, which wasn't helpful. I got what's the other one? Snova. I think that was all that was spawning there at the time. And each of those shinies, I got excited because it was just like, oh wow, I found another one. And it really made me that much more excited to finally find the female Snorunt, and was so cool when I did finally get it. And at that point I had a bunch of shinies. I even had there's 2 Pidgeys sitting above one of the gates that when you fly spawn. I was fly spawning to the Pokemon Center and then running to one of the gates. Well, the other gate I could have run to has 2 Pidgey above it. Both of them shined as well. And so at that point, I was like, well, I have so many shinies. Maybe I could just do a shiny team. And so I picked a couple of shinies that I had at the time, but I didn't really care for them so much. So I then decided that I was going to purposely build a shiny team of Pokemon that I wanted. And from there, I just started, shiny hunting the ones I needed and getting so many other shinies in the process. And that was just exciting as a whole. It was just so exciting to find these random shinies. It got a little tiring when I get phasing on Pokemon that I wasn't trying to get. And probably the most annoying one was I was trying to fly reset for a Bidoof because I wanted Roserade, because Roserade was another one of those Pokemon where I'm like, I love the shiny, but I want that over the original. And I didn't understand that if you're on the ground and the Pokemon you want is on the roof, that fly spamming to the ground doesn't work. So I got so many phases because I just wasn't aware that I didn't realize that I just wasn't loading the Pokemon I was trying to hunt. And I spent so many days doing that, and then eventually having a look online and finding out this weird little quirk with Pokemon on rooftops, which makes sense for there's not a lot of point loading Pokemon that are so far up that you're not going to see them or be able to access them. So yeah, it was quite interesting going through, but really exciting. Absolutely loved it. And while this is definitely I would consider this significantly easier than many other games, particularly the older ones, it has got me wanting to try shiny hunting in other games. Like in Scarlet and Violet, I'm not thinking of going back to Scarlet and Violet because I did not enjoy playing that game. But I did stumble across shinies there. Several in fact, which was kind of cool, but I haven't tried purposely shiny hunting. Because they don't actively sparkle and alert you. That's one thing that in ZA, just the fact that the sparkle can catch you off guard as you're running past just kind of adds to the excitement of there being a shiny, which I think is really cool. So because Scarlet and Violet is that much harder on the eyes, and it doesn't have those factors, and if you run out of distance of a shiny Pokemon, it's lost for good. Because of that, I haven't been too inclined to want to shiny hunt in that game. But playing through this one, I'm enjoying it, and I kind of want to get shiny Pokemon from other games now. Maybe even Scarlet and Violet, of ones that I can't obtain in other games. That, I don't have many other games at the moment. I've only got ZA, Scarlet, and Sword available. I haven't played Legends Arceus. I've heard and seen that one looks pretty cool. I would like to try that one. May or may not try Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. I did enjoy the original Sinnoh games. I don't know if I'll get that one at any point. And I've been a little uncertain about Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. But we'll see. But, actually, I wonder if I can just move this camera. Is that a bit better? That's a bit better. There we go. Seeing myself not being centered was just kind of getting annoying. What was I saying? Oh, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I mean, like, it looks nice. It looks kind of fun. It's interesting that they went with just the catching mechanic for pretty much all of it, bar the like specific battles, which is a bit odd. But I maybe give that one a shot. But then we've got like I'm wanting to complete the shiny decks in ZA before I progress to anything else, ideally. But we've hopefully got a new Pokemon game coming out this year, and so I don't know if there's any point starting another game or starting to try and get into big shiny hunts in the games that I do have, because when the new game comes out, I'll likely want to be playing that. So we'll see. But this has definitely sparked my interest in doing shiny hunting as a whole, and I'm kind of up for some different challenges and some different methods of shiny hunting. I think my biggest reason for not wanting to shiny hunt in Scarlet and Violet is it makes the most sense when you're doing sandwiches, and I was just kind of like, I don't know if I can be bothered. Like, I've beaten the game a couple times now, each time I overrode my save. But my current one, I have beaten the main game. I haven't beaten the post game, and I don't know if I can be bothered. My team's not level 100 yet. It's getting close. Like, they're 80s and above, I believe. But the having to deal with just like doing like 4 and 5 star raid dens, or is it just 5-star to get the Herba Mystica? I was trying to look it up the other day, and it's like, yeah, to do shiny power sandwiches and stuff, like you gotta go get Herba Mystica, and part of me just feels like that's a hassle. Like, even in ZA, like doing like donuts for hyperspace, like I haven't done a shiny power donut yet, and I've done a fair bit of shiny hunting in the hyperspace zones. It doesn't feel particularly hard in the hyperspace zones without the donut. I'm probably going to save making donuts. Like, I did make a couple the other day just to see what sort of results I get. I don't remember if I kept them or not. But the only donuts that I'll probably try and get will be for shiny hunting Latios, and then the 3 Swords of Justice. Just to give me the best odds on that, because you obviously only got one spawn in there. But I'm still working my way through, like, the next thing that I need to do in this game is I need to finish getting enough points that I can go take on Rayquaza. And I just keep getting distracted by shiny hunting because it's fun and I want to fill the decks. I like hoarding creatures. I like gathering them up and being able to see them all laid out in their boxes by number and all this. So, excuse me. Yeah. So I've been enjoying doing that. So there hasn't been a lot of incentive to kind of push those hyperspace zones. I've only just recently learned how to make good donuts for berry hunting, which I've done a couple times now. I need to do some more so I can get some more berries, because that is a pain, having to grind for berries, which you got to spend all the time to be able to make really good donuts so that you can do the big hyperspace zones. So yeah, it's So I just keep getting distracted by shinies. It's fun. It's been a lot of fun, and I wanted to start doing some challenges where I can take my shiny hunting, give them a little bit of purpose. Like the Pokemon that we are looking for at the moment. Let me onto the seat, and then I'll swap over just so I can get back to that list. Where are we? Here we go. So what have we got? So we've got, at the moment I've got Chestnut, Simisage, Florges, Abra, Drampa, and Golisopod. The only two that I don't have shinies of in this is Golisopod and Simisage, but I am going to be collecting fresh shinies for each of these as part of this challenge. So I wanted to be able to do some challenges where it just gives me an excuse to shiny hunt things and do slightly different shiny hunts to whatever I've been doing at the time for filling up the decks. And I've also been like the last video that I did a an art piece of some Slowbro evolutions, and I've started trying out. I'll do a check. Once this resets. I've done a. So what was I saying? Oh, the Slowpoke art. I've kind of found a new style that I'm enjoying, and it kind of has a little bit of a background to it and stuff. And the hey, we got a Panpour. Heck yeah! I don't think I have a Panpour yet. That looks like your color. We'll go with that. Yeah, first one. Not the one we wanted. Not the one we wanted. I am at some point as well wanting to get a like a phase counter for the stream as well, which I think would be kind of cool. First phase of the hunt. Wonder how many we're gonna get. I completely forgot what I was saying. What was it? Slowbro art. Oh yeah, I'll pause for a moment while while I get this out. There was so I'm doing a slightly new style of drawing where I'm trying to incorporate a bit of a background and a shape in behind and stuff like that I've just found that I've actually just enjoyed sketching. And then I've done a couple art pieces now. The Slowbro one is the first one that I've done for my channel, and I've just really liked how it came out. And so I wanted to kind of come up with a reason for being able to create content for my channel where I can enjoy some shiny hunting, enjoy some gameplay, but do that with the purpose toward an art piece and be able to try lots of different things. And so I'm working on a new video at the moment. I finished all the recording and artwork. Yes. Oh no, I finished all of the recording. I got halfway through the artwork yesterday, so I'm going to be finishing that later today, hopefully, and then I can start editing that. So that's a separate video. And then this video here, we're starting shiny hunts now, because these are going to take a while. And then this will be working towards a video with its own art piece as well. And I'm trying a direction for a few videos of framing things around being able to create a nice art piece, because I want to be able to include lots of different things that I like in my videos, and one of that is drawing. But I have struggled with drawing just a Pokemon design on a blank background, just kind of standing there. And I know I could try and do more dynamic poses and stuff like that, but it is sometimes difficult for me to find inspiration in that. And for some reason, the method that I'm doing now, I find it way easier to come up with ideas and stuff. I have aside from the shiny hunting video and the one that I'm currently working on, I have 2 other videos lined up where I already know what I'm going to be doing and drawing for those. That's going to be fun. And yeah, while this year is meant to be a lot of experimenting, and it is to an extent, the stuff that I've been trying in my videos already has been, I've already been finding things where it's like, oh, I definitely like this. I'm not really fond of that. Maybe I can reframe that one. Let's do more of this. And that's been really good. It's been really refreshing. It's helped me to get more ideas that I'm excited about making, which has been really cool. I'm not sure how to... I don't know how it's going to be for actually, like, you know, grabbing people's attention and getting people to want to click through to the video. Don't know, we'll see. It's not something I'm worrying about at the moment. At the moment, I'm concerning myself this year with just having fun, trying stuff out, doing things a bit differently, streaming being one of them. I've not done streaming before. It's been very intimidating, but it's been interesting having to like go through the process, learn the new softwares, get the artwork set up and things like that. So that's been really fun. And we're going to see how that goes. Like, you know, it's been something that I've wanted to try for a few years and getting to try it now, which is cool. And if I keep enjoying it, then I'll keep streaming, you know? So we're going to see how things go. Excuse me. But yeah, so far the videos, even though I've only technically posted one proper video this year, the ones that I'm working on and the ones that I got lined up, I'm genuinely excited for, and I'm enjoying putting together and planning and, you know, doing the different things. I've found new ways of editing, which kind of removes some of the hassles that were stressing me out previously and makes that more fun. So overall, it's been really good this year. I'm glad that I took the time to kind of reframe things and excuse me, and really purpose to kind of figure out what is it that I enjoy about Pokemon and what do I want to share with others. And the big thing for me is, like, I love collecting Pokemon. Every single Pokemon game that I've played over the years, like I started playing in Crystal, that was my first game. And I think since then, the only region I haven't played has been the Alola region. And that was just because at that particular time I didn't have the console. But every game that I've played, I've always collected all the Pokemon. That's been like the number one fun thing for me to do. Excuse me. I love Pokemon designs. I love how they look. I love the animations. I love the Pokedex lore. I love seeing all the new ones. And I love being able to collect one of every single one of them. Now, unfortunately, despite the fact that, like, I had collected a bunch of Pokemon over the years and I brought them up into Pokemon Bank, but then I went through a stint of not playing Pokemon at all. And I ended up losing my Pokemon Bank account. And so all of those Pokemon from previous years are lost. When I got a Switch to play Scarlet and Violet, no, I got the Switch to play Sword and Shield. Yeah. When I got the Switch to play Sword and Shield, that was the... Yeah, it was basically, I was resetting. I was collecting Pokemon from scratch. And saying that, I don't have any of my Pokemon from Pokemon Sword. I don't remember why. I somehow lost that playthrough. So I do need to play Pokemon Sword again. I have completed the Pokedex in Scarlet and Violet. I haven't done the DLCs. That's probably the one thing that I would go back to Scarlet and Violet for, would be to play the DLCs and collect those Pokemon. So that is something that I would like to do at some point. then I do need to play through Sword again. I need to complete that dex. I never played the 2 expansions for 2 DLCs for that, so I never got those Pokemon either. So I do need to look at that as well at some point. But yeah, I love collecting Pokemon, and I always thought it would be cool to shiny hunt. Excuse me. But trying to shiny hunt all the Pokemon, like for many years, like I was a very casual Pokemon gamer. I would be playing a lot of playing games on my PlayStation and sometimes computer games, and but a lot of the time I was also just drawing, you know, and it takes up a lot of time. So when I was playing Pokemon, I would play it for a period of time, but it was also very casual. So I knew I didn't have the time sink at the time to try and shiny hunt Pokemon, particularly in the older games, and so I just never did. I was always amazed at people who did. I thought that was very cool, but yeah, I just didn't. And now, with looking at how I'm enjoying Pokemon games now, I'm like, well, shiny hunting is an extension of collecting. That is the next step. You've collected everything, cool, get all the different color variants. And going through this one, I'm like, I'm excited for that now. And I know that like once this gets home capability, it's going to be really hard to like transfer these Pokemon into Pokemon Home, transfer all the shinies into Pokemon Home, and then have to look at it and be like, cool, my shiny dex has so many gaps, you know? So it's going to be interesting moving forward, as I do want to, I now have a bug where I want to get all the shiny Pokemon of every type, of every species, and that is, yeah, I'm excited for that. So it's going to be fun. I wanted to tie that in to my upcoming videos. I wanted to tie in doing some art. There's aspects of editing that I enjoy doing, so I wanted to be able to tie those in. Wanted to try some streaming, so that's been on my mind for a wee bit. So experiments, trying to find like the things that I like most about creating content by trying a bunch of different things, and then I can narrow down on these are the things that I really like. But already I'm starting to feel like I'm kind of getting to a lot of those points quickly already, which is great, because I actually had about 12 different video ideas, very different video ideas that I was going to try, all fairly wildly different. And doing the first video and trying to plan some other stuff and getting some fresh ideas, and I'm like, no, like most of those ideas I've scrapped now. Like I've still got them in my list, so that maybe I can reframe them in the stuff that I know that I'm enjoying now. So we'll see. But it's been really good. It's been really good. Yeah, but like I said, like Crystal was my first Pokemon game, and I actually borrowed it. Like I didn't even own it. Like I owned a Game Boy Advance, and I got to borrow a copy of Pokemon Crystal. And I don't even remember if I'd seen the anime at that point. Like I just had a friend that had a couple of games that I didn't have, and I got to borrow them. One was Crystal and one was like a Jurassic Park game. But Pokemon Crystal, I loved so much. Like it was so fun. I hadn't played a game quite like that, because it was around the time, like I think it was the same year that the year that I brought my Game Boy Advance. I would have been about 13. It was the same year we got a PlayStation 2. That was our first gaming console in the house. Like we had like maybe played the odd video game at someone else's house, like very rarely. And that year, like I managed to shoehorn my parents into buying a PlayStation 2 because, you know, it's also a DVD player. So like, you know, you're getting like extra for your money. And then I spent my own money on getting a Game Boy Advance handheld, which was very cool. And so I got to play Crystal, and I loved it. Like I loved seeing all the Pokemon. I loved having to catch them or hunt them or things like that. And the story that kind of built around it. And I was pretty much hooked from there. Like, I don't think I played... Did I play Ruby and Sapphire? I did. I did end up getting copies of Ruby and Sapphire. And then I played Sinnoh. I didn't play Fire Red and Leaf Green. Mostly because I'd already played Kanto in the Johto postgame. But I was just kind of hooked. And like from playing Crystal, like I then went on to find the anime. And I loved watching the anime. And there was just so much that I enjoyed about Pokemon. It was just great. And I was like, I loved drawing at the time. And so these cute designs of these creatures were just so great. Like, you know, they were right up my alley. I just loved it. And so I had already started drawing Fakemon of my own at that age because I was just so excited about Pokemon. I wanted to create my own, and that was really cool. So despite the fact of how many years it's been, you know, I'm now making Pokemon content. I've made Fakemon designs. I've got my next video I'm working on at the moment. Creating a new regional form for a Pokemon. Like, it's just kind of always been sitting there apparently, and I just kind of avoided it for like a really long time. But it's been really cool to kind of reflect on that this year and be like, why did I get into Pokemon to begin with? You know, like I got Soul Silver when that came out, and I really regret getting rid of it. I wish I didn't get rid of my Pokemon games. I wish I kept them all and kept all the consoles, but I didn't. But I loved Heart Gold, Soul Silver. It was so great to go back to the Johto region, see it in glorious color, and the level of detail was phenomenal. Let me take this off. We'll do another check. That was easily my favorite game. I know a lot of people say that, but it was. I loved it, and they added extra to things, which was really great. Let's run a save, and then we'll drop down. Let's have a look. No. Maybe. No. And you're not even back yet. All right. But there was just so much to love about that game. It was so cool. But yeah, I regret getting rid of that. But each subsequent Pokemon game that I played just kind of solidified for me like how much I enjoyed Pokemon as a whole. There were definitely some games that I didn't enjoy as much. I think the Unova region was probably the first one that really threw me. I didn't mind the fact that you could only get in the main game you could only get Unova Pokemon, and that was it. I thought that was very cool, to be honest. There was just a lot of the designs kind of threw me a little bit. Definitely plenty that I liked. But I think also kind of shifting to that sort of 3D style was a bit of a letdown. It didn't feel so great. But anytime I come on that, like now, you know, as 3D has improved, on at least on the Switch, anytime I come across Unova Pokemon, I like them a lot more now than I did when they first came out. And maybe that's time, maybe that's just exposure to them, maybe that's the 3D graphics, maybe that's all of the above. But I do hope we get to go back to a lot of those regions and explore them and stuff. Like that's one thing I've loved about these Legends games over I've only played this one, but I do love the fact that the Hisui region exists in a game. And I hope they do more of that, where you can go back to a region, see it in a fresh light, be able to experience those Pokemon again. Obviously they haven't done everything perfectly in any game, really, except Heart Gold, Soul Silver, maybe. I don't know that I could flaw that in any form, but regardless, I've started to, even some of the Pokemon that I didn't like for a while, I've started to appreciate more and more. And it's fun. It's exciting. Like even the video I'm doing at the moment, it's based on a Pokemon that I really disliked. And it's been interesting just to kind of go through what I'm doing in that video. But yes, Pokemon has been a very fun aspect of my life for many years. I've watched most of the anime. I think from all the Kanto through to... Actually, is there any of it that I haven't watched? I watched all the way up to Univer. I watched Carlos. No, I watched Alola. I watched Journeys. I was disappointed Journeys wasn't a proper Galar region series. That kind of annoyed me. I feel like Galar just kind of got shoved to the side. The only ones I haven't watched are actually the latest ones. So there was Ash's Farewell series. Like I've seen a couple episodes, but I haven't watched that one properly. And then my boys have been watching Pokemon Horizons, and it has looked pretty cool. But I just haven't been watching any lately. When I'm doing stuff that I can actually watch things, usually I'm watching YouTube videos. If I'm watching series, like my wife and I watch anime on a Wednesday night. And at the moment, we've been watching Freerun and Spy vs. Family. We had been watching Apothecary Diaries, and we ran out because we just watched that only. And we've watched the series like 3 times now, and we're really hanging out for the next season to hurry up. But we've only started that in the last 12 months. Like I most of the time I would only watch YouTube videos. Like I don't watch movies almost ever. I very rarely watch TV shows of any sort. So I've only started putting time aside to actually sit down and just watch and enjoy anime. So maybe I do need to try watching some of the Pokemon anime on the nights where I'm normally doing like some drawing or just, you know, my own shiny hunting and stuff like that. So it would be nice to kind of keep up with the anime. Well, keep up as best as I can. In New Zealand here, like a season of Pokemon will release in English, and New Zealand gets it like 6 months after America does, which is really annoying. Yeah, I mean, like I could probably get a VPN to get around that, and I just can't be bothered spending money on a VPN, to be honest. It just doesn't appeal. And I don't think I would watch enough to warrant paying for that, but might be something that I need to look at least for the series that are available, is actually just go back and spend some time watching those and keeping up with it, because I used to really enjoy the anime. I watched it, like I went through a few years of watching it. Like anytime I was drawing, I always had the anime playing on my computer, and I just loved it. Like it really helps me get excited for wanting to create Pokemon art. So I do probably need to get back into that. I know a lot of people were not happy I remember seeing when Alola came out and the art style changed and a lot of people weren't happy about that. I can definitely say it was a bit of a shock at first. But I think at the end of it, like I actually ended up enjoying it a lot. It certainly had like a more fun, quirky vibe, which I think fit the Alola stories, but I do think the more serious tone that they've come back to for Horizons looks a lot better. Be interesting to hear your guys' opinions on particularly on the Horizon series. Just because I haven't seen it yet, I'd be interested to hear your opinions and thoughts on that, and if I should watch it. Might have another check. Every time I do this, it kind of screws up my Joy-Con thing a wee bit. Alright. Has anyone shined? Oh. Wait. Oh. Hello, Ghastly. Oh, why did I try and catch you in a netball? Well, I got you. Cool. Wait, is that a shiny? Okay. Not Haunter. Not that Ghastly. Oh, that's hilarious. At 2 more phases. Gives us 3 phases. We have... we got Panpour and Pansear. I need Pansage. I think Pansage missed the memo. Big question is going to be, can we get the Pansage before we get double ups of the other 2 monkeys? Can we do it? These Pokemon, actually these Pokemon here, like I remember when the game came out, like I heard a lot of stuff about how people really didn't like these 3 monkeys, and I get it, like to an extent. I think at the time when the game came out, there was a lot of stuff that I think I allowed, like I allowed my opinions of certain Pokemon to be swayed a bit by what other people were saying online. And it's not good. It's not good for sure. Like in this game, I've loved seeing them hanging about. And even like getting the evolutions. Like I'm not super fond of Simipour. Something about like the dress look just doesn't look right for what I don't know. I think it's just like the triangular shape. Excuse me. The triangular shape just feels a bit odd. But as a whole, like I don't mind them. I've actually ended up liking them a lot. And Simisage is like my oldest boy is like one of his favorite Pokemon. And Simisear is my other boys, like one of their favorite Pokemon. I do wonder a little bit, they tend to gravitate towards green and red for almost anything as their favorite colors, so they might be picking Pokemon based on their favorite colors. But hey, that's fine. But in this game, I have liked them a lot more than I had previously, which has been good. There's been a lot of Pokemon that I previously have not liked, and it might have just been like, it could have been the bad 3D art or the poor posing or whatever in the game that they came out in. And in these games, it just seems a lot better. Like, they're not all perfect. There's certainly a lot of Pokemon I think that could be better. I think there's aspects of, like, just taking Pikachu, for example, how a lot of the pixel art got to the point of having Pikachu in these cool poses, and then in 3D, he just kind of stands there kind of boringly. Like, if they could just take the 3D models as is and then just pose them in a cool way as their default stance, I think that would like make things so much more enjoyable. Like, I saw someone, I don't remember who it was because I just saw it at a glance, It might have been on YouTube. I think it was on YouTube. And someone had animated different Pokemon's like default stances to be based on their nature. So I think the example I saw was a Lucario, and so it's just kind of standing there kind of shy and idly if it's got a lonely nature, but then if it's got a jolly nature, it was kind of bouncing around a bit and seeming a lot happier. And I think things like that would be pretty cool, you know, like all the actual attack animations could be identical, but it's like the idle animation is controlled by the nature. And realistically, it's not going to take that much longer for an animator to animate one idle animation as it is to animate a bunch, you know. So I think that would be like really cool. So it's like you can, particularly like something like ZA where you've got the Pokemon roaming around, like their idle walking animation would give you a clue as to what their nature is, which I think would be really cool. And it'd be really great to see that sort of stuff. But I've definitely grown to appreciate lots of Pokemon way more than I did in previous years. The video I'm doing at the moment was the idea of it was based on something that happened years ago when my wife and I were playing Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and I share this story in the video as well, but it was her Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. That was her first Pokemon game. Sorry. That was her first Pokemon game, and she didn't know what Pokemon were there. She didn't know what was coming up. She didn't know anything about them, what they evolved into. And she haphazardly decided to have a Zubat on her team. And I kind of rolled my eyes. I didn't think, I was like, oh, Zubat. Like I'd had too many bad experiences with Zubat swarming me in caves in previous games. I was just like, I'm never using a Zubat. I hate Zubat. And she decided to use Zubat. I was like, oh, we'll see how this goes. And he actually ended up becoming almost the ace of her team. She ended up actually really enjoying using it. And then it evolved into Golbat, and she was kind of shocked and surprised. She didn't quite like that look so much, but she kept using it. But like literally the very next level up, it evolved into Crobat. And I had for some reason just forgotten that Crobat existed at this point. And yeah, she was like, wow, that's so cool. And then like, you know, he became that much more fun for her to use. And so I got to watch someone take a Pokemon that I had bad feelings about, or negative feelings about, and really thoroughly enjoy it, and you know, see their enjoyment of using it and leveling it up and evolving it and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, that's really cool. You know, like I felt in some ways, I kind of felt like I'm not going to be able to get that experience because I have a tendency to look up so much stuff ahead of time. You know, I'm interested, like like when they're revealing new Pokemon, I want to see them. Like I'm excited to see all the new Pokemon. And so I haven't really had that kind of like, and I could now, to be fair, but I haven't really had that whole like getting a Pokemon because I have no idea what it does or how it evolves and just going, cool, I'm having it, let's see what happens. Like I don't really have that because I'm always like, okay, how does it evolve? What's the evolution method? Is it level up? Is it item? Is it something weird? Because I want to know how to evolve it. So I end up seeing, you know, the future evolutions and stuff like that. So this video isn't quite like, I knew what Pokemon I was getting into when I did this video, the upcoming video. But I wanted to try and give myself as much of that sort of an experience as I could
was something I already knew I disliked. You know, kind of attacking that premise of like, she got a Zubat, I disliked Zubat, and I was like, I'm never going to use Zubat. And so I was like, well, what if I take another Pokemon that I know I don't like and do that, you know? So there's been a lot of, I don't know, just playing Pokemon and exploring with Pokemon is really fun. But yeah, so there's been a lot of fun stuff that I've been able to kind of discover about myself and Pokemon lately. One of the Discord servers that I'm on, they did a poll for the, well, it was like a form. It was like picking your favorites of different things in the Pokemon world. That was really hard. Like over the years, like I've always considered myself as someone who doesn't really have favorites. Everything is kind of a dislike or a neutral, which isn't great. I've learned, and I've been trying to actually allow myself to have favorites. But there were things like, you know, what's your favorite gym leader of all gym leaders, Elite Four member, champion, region, starter, all sorts. And it's difficult to pick, particularly when you're picking Pokemon. And I was chatting to one of the others in the server, and they were like, yeah, I've got a list. You know, I've got this big list of all the different things that I like. And it was like down to, you know, favorite fire type, favorite fossil, favorite mythical, favorite legendary, favorite fire type, water type, this, that, the other, like all the possible things that you could pick a favorite of. And I'm like, that's actually kind of cool. It's actually kind of cool. Yeah, favorite legendary bird, favorite legendary beast, you know. And I was kind of like, I think I need to do that at some point. Actually sit down and think about, you know, what is like, what are the Pokemon that I really like? And one of the ideas that I've often thought about is that, like, what has been like, what is your favorite type? And I used to always think it was fire type, but lately I've actually been thinking it's ghost type, because I just keep like noticing that there's lots of ghost types that I really like. And I was like, it'd be real, like if I was to do a fire type team, I could make a fire type team, but it would kind of be picking from just Pokemon because I've picked fire type sort of thing. While I do, there are several fire types I like, but then most of them are starters, and this doesn't feel right to me. Whereas ghost types, I love lots of ghost types. Like, I love Frostlass and Honedge. I got shiny. This game was the first game that I actually shiny hunted, even saw the shinies for Honedge in its line, and those were fantastic. Like I recently got another copy of the game to have on the, because we've got a Switch 2 and a Switch 1. So now, when my wife and I have gaming night, we can now do some Legends EA together. And so I've started a new profile so I can play along with her. And I went, as soon as I got Area 4, I went straight into shiny hunting a Honedge, which took me forever. The first, like when I hunted it on this profile, that took me ages. I ended up hunting it at Lysander Labs because it took so long. But I was like, no, I want it as part of my team in this playthrough. It's probably going to be the only Pokemon I shiny hunt in that playthrough. So I'm going to shiny hunt this one. And I got it within like 45 minutes. Got that and a Spinarak. The Spinarak was the only phase. And I was shocked. That was so unexpected. And very cool. I love the Crimson Red Blade that it has. I know the colors change and ends up going to like a purple and gold, I think, for the last one, but it still looks really cool. So I'm excited to have that on my team. So that's another ghost type I like. I like Dracopult. I haven't used one, but I think it's very cool. What other ghost types? And anytime I have to think about them off the top of my head, like just it all vanishes. All vanishes. Just want to check something while we're doing this. Oh, that's not right. Come on, there. What other ghost types are there? I liked Houndstone. Not Houndstone. First evolution. Greavard. I liked Greavard. I don't like Houndstone so much. So if I was to get one of those, I probably wouldn't evolve it. What else? Let's think. Gen 1 was the Gengar line. I like the Gengar line. I prefer Haunter over Gengar. Did we have any other ghost types in that? Gosh, I'm gonna need to look it up. Let's just look it up. Pokemon ghost type. Give me the Pokemon. Misdreavus, very cool. Galarian Corsola is cool. Like I haven't used that, but that would be quite cool to use. I like Sharpen and Bayonet. Oh, Duskull! I like Duskull in that. Like, I don't like Dusclops so much, but Dusknoir is very cool. I like Mismagius. The Yamask line are very cool. Sinistea. I love Sinistea. I want to get a shiny Sinistea. I want to get... At some point, I want to get a shiny Sinistea, both the authentic and phony forms, which means I'm going to have to get 2 of each, so that I can have the evolved forms as well. That's going to be a pain. Cursula's cool. Greavard, Houndstone is cool. Gimmighoul. I like Gimmighoul. Like chest form Gimmighoul. I don't know about Goldango. I don't mind it. Let's see. Ghastly's line. Drifloon and Drifblim. I actually came across a shiny Drifblim in Scarlet and Violet, and I didn't realize that you could save, and then like if you fail it, you could reload the save. And blinking thing exploded on me. It was so annoying. I was so excited because the shiny looks so cool on that. Spiritom's okay. Giratina is very cool. The Litwick line is very cool. I used to really like the shiny form of Chandelure, but I have come to just like the regular colors more. I think the purple flames is much cooler than the orange flames because it just looks like a fire type thing. Really like Phantump, but I probably wouldn't evolve it into Trevenant. I don't know. Phantump's just cuter. So I love Phantump, love Pumpkaboo. Gourgeist is okay. Actually, it's probably just going to be a case if I love the first evolutions, second evolutions I could pass on, because really love Sandygast. Palisand, yeah, it's fine. Mimikyu's very cool. Delmise is pretty awesome. Fluttermane is pretty cool. Alolan Marowak is very cool. Hisuian Typhlosion, love that. Shed Ninja, forgot about that. I do like Shed Ninja. Actually, that was one of my favorite just Pokemon gimmicks of that game. It was just the whole Ninkata, Shed Ninja, and Ninjask scenario. I'm not so fond of Sableye, like Frostlass. Rotom doesn't count unless I keep him in his normal form. Galarian Yamask is very cool. Hisuian, Zora, and Zoroark, they look amazing. As I said, I haven't played Legends ZA, so I don't have them, but they would be very cool. Frelish and Jellicent, they're okay. I don't mind. Golett and Golurk, they're very cool. Love the Honedge line. Hooper's okay. Decidueye is very cool. Rowlet would easily be my starter in Alola if I got to play that. Lunala's pretty cool. Marshallow's very cool. Blacephalon, Runerigus, it's cool. The Dreepy one's cool. Basculegion's very cool. I used a Skeledirge in my latest playthrough of Scarlet and Violet. I liked that. That was very neat. Ceruledge is very awesome. I don't think I've used Ceruledge. In one of my previous playthroughs, I did use Armor Rouge. Bramlin's okay. Bramlin's pretty funny. Annihilape's okay. Goldingo's fine. Poltergeist and Sinistra, they're very cool. And Picture's pretty cool. Yeah, I like a lot of ghost types. So I could easily, if I was to be a gym leader, I could easily be a ghost type gym leader. There's too many for me to pick from. I love them. So at some point I might have to do a game where I do like an all ghost type playthrough. That would be pretty fun. And you get pretty good type coverage. Like, usually, a lot of them have secondary types that are reasonably spread out. So you can do some cool stuff with that. So that, yeah, easily my favorite type. I also love the colors. I think going for like those darker purples and blues and blacks and stuff, like that's kind of more my vibe as a whole. So that probably helps as well. But I do think a lot of the ghost types have very cool designs. Alright, maybe we'll do another check. Sorry, let's just fix my control thing. There we go. I might need to actually just sit down there and wait a moment for those things to reappear. Because you're not doing anything. But then these two are empty. So we might hang out down here for a couple of minutes and just let these two things respawn. Because at the moment we're not getting very good spawns for this area. Excuse me. Do we have any other Pokemon hanging out around here? You haven't shined yet. And I don't think there's anything else in particular that's within range. That's right. Let's hang up on the rooftop for a bit. What do we got up here? Oh, you guys. That's right. You know what? You know what? Oh, let me get close enough. Oh, we'll get another one. No! That. Hit that. So, a lot of people don't like these mega forms, but it's kind of goofy, but I got a shiny Raichu, so the mega Y form and shiny form is just Pikachu with Pikachu colors, and I love it for that fact. And then if you have the X, I don't like the X as much, but if you have shiny Raichu and get the mega mega form for that. It's just Raichu with Raichu colors, which I think is just hilarious. So while a lot of people might not like them, I quite enjoy them. Alright, we have one monkey back. How do you do? Alright, we need one more. Probably the Pokemon that I've enjoyed using the most in my playthrough has been this guy. This is Mr. Bouquet. Oh wait, that's not gonna break it. Oh, I did break it. Nice. Yeah, my shiny team that I ended up building, because I mentioned that before. Where are they? Where are they? Here we go. So I had Frostlass, Goodra, Roserade, Florges, and then Talonflame and Raichu. And then these other ones, the ones that are going to my party, and then the extra couple down here, those I've used for different rogue mega battles and stuff like that. But this one here, it's annoying because it doesn't do it when you just pull it out of the Pokeball ordinarily. But in trainer battles, it does this cool little like spin as it like comes out of the Pokeball, which is really cool. And so anytime I brought it out in battle, it did this little spin and kind of like announcing its own entry, which was very cool. But yeah, that's probably been the favorite Pokemon on my team for the playthrough that I did. It was a lot of fun. Hey, final monkey. All right, we're back to 3 again. All right, back to the rooftop. Yeah, I probably should have waited to get them back before. I'm gonna have a harder time trying to get a shiny out of just one spawn. Alright, let's go back up again. Alright. Do you guys have a favorite drink that you like to have? Like, we'll say like both hot drink and cold drink. Like, my favorite hot drink, and I don't know if most of you guys will, most of you guys will have this, because I think it might be an Australia and New Zealand brand. But for a hot drink, one of my favorite drinks to have at home is called Milo, and it's like a malt. It's kind of like a hot chocolate, but like from malt, and it's really nice. I've got like a big, like nearly half a liter mug. I like to load up sometimes. It's super nice to have as a hot drink. And then for cold drinks, like if we are like out somewhere where they've got a bar, like my go-to is usually like a lemon lime and bitters. I find those nice and refreshing. I'm very much kind of like a fruit or juice based person as a whole, and but one of the drinks that we've been getting recently, I can't remember if it's a Korean product or a Thailand product, but is called Mogu Mogu, which is a juice, and that's really nice. I like getting mango for that actually, and sometimes we do go to, there's a tea shop in town that sells boba tea, and I'll get like a mango milk tea or a mango green tea. Those are really nice. Mango is kind of my go-to. It used to be pineapple. I used to like everything was kind of like pineapple juice and stuff like that, but recently I've discovered that I prefer mango. Almost anything fruit-based, but mango is definitely one of my favorites. So I could do with one right now. My throat feels really dry. I should have brought some water with me. Oh well. I should be doing better at staying hydrated. For sure. Come on, we need one more shiny monkey. We need the Pansage. And then we'll have a complete set. Which should be kind of fun. As I mentioned, like I said, the Pokemon on the that I got for the adventuring party. So I've got to spin the wheel there. So once I have the Pansage, we can evolve it. Then we'll be spinning the wheel to see which one we do next. So if you guys have any suggestions or recommendations on Pokemon for the other slots, like definitely let me know. Would love to hear why you think they'd be great for that adventuring party role. I don't want to do things like have the fighter just be like, oh, it's a fighting type, you know, but I want the fighter to be like, the personality of the Pokemon would be a fighting type, you know, because it's an aggressive Pokemon or something like that. Excuse me. Bear in mind, I'm only doing hunts in ZA for this challenge at the moment. As I have the shiny charm in this one, and this is the one I'm enjoying shiny hunting in at the moment. If I get into shiny hunting other games, I'll probably do specific challenges for those. But if you have any suggestions for those other ones, let me know. Actually, I might just bring it back up again so we can go over it. Just wait for this to come back in. Oh, there we go. Browser. Yeah, so we're getting the Semi-Sage for the Druid, but for the roles of Cleric, Rogue, Wizard, Fighter, and the Big Bad Guy, do let me know your thoughts. The main reasons I've picked these ones, the Florges because it loves taking care of things and healing things, the Abra for a Rogue because it likes to vanish and hide. Specifically, I picked Abra, not Alakazam. The Wizard because Dramper's he's an old man. He's an old man. Chestnut for the Fighter because it kind of does the whole like fighter paladin thing. Like I was considering not doing the Carlos starters just because they are technically like, you know, you could make them Rogue, Wizard, and Fighter because that's kind of what they're based on. But I thought including one might be okay. But if you have another suggestion for that, that's fine. And for the Big Bad Guy, I went for Golisopod, and specifically, you know, because he can kind of look terrifying. But like most battles, which are multi-stage battles, when he gets down to half health, he switches himself out for somebody else. So you have to track him down and take him on again. And that just feels like every villain in every story. So I felt it was fitting. So, let's... But yeah, if you have any suggestions for those, definitely let me know. Would love to hear your thoughts on it. I want to keep things pretty flexible with this and just kind of have fun. I'm not setting any of these in stone. Like once I've caught one, then that's set in stone. But up until that point, we can make changes. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I do wonder a bit if there are better methods for shiny hunting. Well, I mean, aside from hyperspace, I don't really want to use hyperspace if I can avoid it. There's some Pokemon that I'll do in hyperspace, but there's some Pokemon I don't want to do in hyperspace. I'm not aware of any spots where there's quite so many of the monkeys together, so I think this is our best bet. And we've had pretty good luck so far. It's just not the one we want. Actually, am I missing any of these from the actual, like from my actual collection? Come on, fix. There. Let's have a quick look. Oops. No boxes. Oh, I am. Cool. So I need pan pour, semi pour, pan sage, semi sage. Cool. All right. Well, we'll be filling at least one gap. So that's cool. Hopefully we can find the other one. I'm probably going to do this for probably half an hour longer. And then I've got to go out and do some stuff. But, oops. Wasn't fast enough that time. I know a lot of people for Legends Z8, like there was a lot of disappointment, particularly when some of the beta stuff came out, how like all these buildings have flat textures and stuff like that, but in the beta they were actually 3D. And excuse me, I get it. Like it certainly would be a lot better and more immersive if they were 3D. And oh, my alignment's off. There we go. But I don't think it's like damaged my overall experience at all, but it is one of those things where like it would lead to more immersion. There's a video I want to do at some point coming up where I want to talk about like my personal pet peeve, and that's actually wild zones. Because so many of them just feel like Pokemon were just plonked on top of the wild zones. And I get that that's basically what happens. It's like you wake up one morning and it's like, hey, overnight there's been like 3 new wild zones added. The Pokemon have only been there for 5 minutes. And it's like, you have a Pokemon that's capable of just causing explosions out of the ground. I doubt things would be that pristine after an evening, you know? So I'm going to be doing a video about that and kind of talking about what I think would have led to some improvements for immersion. That's kind of my thing. Like I think ZA has been a really fun game, but there's a few points where I think that breaks the immersion of the story that's being told. And I think wild zones are a big part of that. There's a couple of wild zones, it does it reasonably well, like fine enough, but like most of them, they can feel like an afterthought, and realistically they wouldn't take that much work to make a big difference, make them more interesting, make them feel like Pokemon have an impact. Like I get there's kind of like a bit of a mindset where it's kind of like, you know, you look at some of like the battle courts and stuff like that, and it's like, based on the battles that we have there, like that court shouldn't be looking that pristine after battle. You know, that should be torn to shreds. But I think that regardless, in certain aspects, particularly in wild zones, even in some parts of just the city as you roam around, there would be certain things that would really add to the immersion. Beyond that, I don't really have any pet peeves about this game aside from the amount of clicking for some NPCs is just ridiculous. Like when you have those side quests that are like, I want you to battle me, and like, so you got to go click on the person to trigger the side quest cutscene, click through the dialogue, and then it's like, you need to battle me, come talk to me when you're ready to battle. So you have to like click out of the conversation and then click on them again and be like, are you ready to battle me? And then click again. And it's like, you could have just had the conversation, and that first conversation would be like, I want you to battle me with this Pokemon. Are you ready? Yes or no? And it's like, well, if yes, then you start the battle. And if no, then you go out of the conversation. You can come back when you're ready. But when you're just kind of like going yes straight away, it's like so much extra clicking. Like, it seems so unnecessary. I don't feel like they kind of like tested that very well for like usability and fun. There might be a reason for it, but yeah. The other annoying thing is like if someone wants to do a one-on-one battle, or even just in like the online ZA Royale where you can only have 3 Pokemon in your team and you have to clear your team of every other Pokemon. I'm like, why? You know, you could just have like a one-on-one battle and be like, choose the Pokemon that you want to battle with, and you just select the one, and then they just take away the ability to change Pokemon. Why do I have to clear every other slot in my team? Like, why? It was interesting in the beta leaks to see as well that they had been considering having Go-Goat rideable. And I don't know why they didn't. Like, with Lumio City originally having both roller skates and Go-Goat, and now the city's bigger, like there would be more reason to have a Go-Goat. And it's like, just make it faster than running, but harder to turn. You know, so like I want to get like, because it takes me long, like running's not too slow, but because it takes me a long time to run from A to B, I end up just flying everywhere. And if you gave me the option of being that much faster than running because I'm riding a Go-Goat, even if that's the only rideable Pokemon in this game, I don't care. I'm running. Like, I'm not running. I'm riding. I'm going to ride the Pokemon rather than fly because that is more fun. So it's interesting that they had it in beta testing and decided to cut it, because I feel like, and like they could have had it that like you can't ride them through wild zones and stuff like that to stop issues. But I don't see any reason to get rid of it, you know? Like, I don't see the advantage. Like, yeah, we've got Rotom for the rooftop jumping thing, which feels a little odd, but it is fine, technically. So it's not going to overlap that. It's not like it's been replaced by a different mechanic that's arguably more fun or more efficient. You know, it was just left. Like they were like, we made it, and then we just didn't include it. Which, yeah, it probably feels like one of the biggest lost opportunities. I was also hoping, and I haven't completed all my side quests yet, but I've also seen no one talking about it, so I assume this doesn't exist. But I was also kind of sad that Professor Sycamore, don't know why I got that muddled. Professor Sycamore and Looker haven't shown up, aside from being a photo on the wall of the building they should be, that the building they're connected to. While I don't mind that for the main story, I had been hoping that there might be a side quest in like the post game or something, or maybe even with like if we were to get a second DLC, it would be quite cool to have like a good chunk of that story be the reason we didn't see Looker and Sycamore during the main game or the Mega DLC, is that they've been working together on trying to solve this thing, and now we're being pulled into it because they're two fan favorite characters of the previous region, and both of them belong in Lumio City. So it's just been kind of annoying to like not see them. Like, I don't think having them in the main game would have worked. Like, I think Mabel as acting director was just fabulous, and her attitude to being hassled all the time by various people was really cool. So I think that worked out really well, but I'm just kind of sad that they didn't show up at all. That's kind of my main thing, not even for a side quest, you know. So I kind of hope that we'd get like an extra DLC or something, because so far they've done 2 DLCs per game, but it also feels unlikely that even if they did do a DLC, that it would have them in it. So we'll see, but I don't know how likely that is. Let's do another check. have we got the Simi Sage? Kind of surprised that Pidgey hasn't shined. Are you? No, you're just normally that color. Alright. Still no. Where are we at? A bit longer. That's right. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what we get told on Pokemon Day. I've been trying to avoid all of the leaks and rumors because I like being surprised. That was probably one of the things that I've disliked about recent generation reveals is just the amount of leaks and rumors, and I'm just like, it toys with my expectations of what's going to be in a game, and then I'm kind of left with like nothing. You know, like disappointment, because it was like I thought it was going to be this, but it wasn't. And I managed to avoid spoilers and leaks for ZA, and I'm so glad I did. I had such a fun time just getting it with zero expectations aside from, like, you know, the release trailer. Everything felt fresh and unexpected. I didn't know what was coming up, and it is so fun. So I'm trying to do my best for that for the new games. I have caught glimpses of thumbnails of YouTube videos that have been talking about the leaks, and I've done my best to like not look at them. It's annoying, it's hard. Kind of makes me want to unsubscribe from various channels just because I want to keep the surprise and suspense. So yeah, but it's not too much longer until Pokemon Day, so I'm hoping that I can still avoid stuff till then. I mean, like, I still have to avoid stuff all the way up until launch day, which gets progressively more difficult. Particularly on some social platforms, I just start not opening them. Excuse me. So, but I really hope I can keep it as unspoiled as possible, because it was so fun coming into a game with no idea what to expect. And the previous few games that I had played had been heavily spoiled for me. Some of them before, like, they'd just been spoiled before I got to play the game, and then others were because I didn't get the game for so long. I'd already seen a bunch of content on it. So when I came into the game, there was kind of like, there were no surprises, there was nothing new. So yeah, that's my goal for this one. And just games in general moving forward, is trying to keep that surprise and suspense. So hopefully I can pull that off. So yeah, would love to hear like your thoughts on what you'd like to see in the upcoming games. So please don't leave any comments about any leaks and stuff, but just like your own personal thoughts of what you'd like to see. I'm not entirely sure what my hopes are for Gen 10. I would like to see something that feels a little akin to ZA, not in that it sticks to an entire city, but I feel like if the world felt this big, so like give us routes back. I don't want open world, just give me routes and just ways to get around in any order that I want. That's fine. You can kind of keep it semi-open world like that, whereas like you have designated route areas, but you're not restricted. Like you can zigzag your way through them to your heart's content right from the beginning of the game. Go adventuring, go find Pokemon of different from different areas and stuff like that in any order you want, but just do it in routes where you can make them feel really lush and alive and lived in. I think going back to that is what I would like to see. like the wild zones here kind of feel like a real rough attempt at creating these little pockets for Pokemon to be in, but I feel like a lot of them just don't do it justice. But I would love, like, so for example, if there was a revisit to the Kalos region again, I would love it if you played through, when you come to Lumio City feels this big. I don't care that I can't go into every building. I would love more buildings to go into, don't get me wrong. That is one thing I would have loved a lot more, is just to have buildings to walk into where it's just NPCs and a bit of lore. They don't have to be attached to side quests, they don't have to be attached to the main story, it doesn't have to be important, it doesn't have to be a Pokemon event. It's just you can walk in, you can talk to people, you can learn stuff. That was something that was super fun in previous games, and the few buildings you get to go into in this game are quite cool to go into, because you're like, hey, I can't see this anywhere else in the city. So if they could bring back a city this big, and like, yeah, I think moving forward, if they did have a city and they could have a couple of wild zones, it doesn't have to be 20 of them, because you're just passing through. It's not a big thing for the story, but have wild zones, like have a couple wild zones in the city where, like, that would be kind of cool, and wild Pokemon throughout the city. But like the routes also feel really big and explorable. You don't have to have huge amounts of Pokemon. I would love, actually, this is something that would be very cool. I would love to have it that it's like, if we had alpha Pokemon moving forward, but they're harder to find. So for example, in older Pokemon games, your route was kind of very linear. You had a path and you could veer off that. You could veer off that a little bit to the left and the right usually, but you couldn't explore very deep. I think some spots of the Unova region, because of the weather effects they had in, it was like some bits would be blocked off until certain seasons, and then it opened up this big area to explore. I think that's very cool, and I'd like to see more of that in a way where it's like you could run through this route, catch all the primary Pokemon real quickly, but if you want to explore slightly off the beaten path in this route, you'll find higher level ones and alphas. Maybe even things like, you know, you got this route and it's just like this little forest route, and that's really cool, but you delve deeper into these trees and you find these other clearings that have higher level Pokemon, but then there's a cave entrance and there's a miniature cave there which has, again, higher level Pokemon of different types or whatever, but it's off the beaten track. It causes you to explore, but you contain it within a route and make the way you wander around the route very unlinear. Like block it with like fallen trees and stuff like that, where it's like gives you reason to explore and not just run right through. Like you can give people the option to run right through, but then do other things where it just feels naturally kind of broken off in different ways because Pokemon have been affecting the area, but give you reason to explore somewhere off the beaten track to find a very specific Pokemon. That to me is very cool, you know, and it would be great as well to be able to have like, you know, here's the map and you can go this way around the route. And then one thing it doesn't tell you, or it doesn't make clear to you, is like there's a cave entrance here. And if you go off the beaten track and you find this cave, you can actually go through the cave and you'll actually pop out of a cave somewhere else, you know, like have roundabout ways to get somewhere. Like I think that would be very cool, very immersive, but it would avoid having this big like Scarlet Violet open world thing where there's just so much empty space and you've just got like, particularly on the Switch too, you're like, within my viewing distance, there are 40 Pokemon here just on a patch of grass, a patch of flat grass. It doesn't make sense, you know. I would rather have something that feels a bit denser and explorable and stuff like that. And I would also, like, even within a route, so let's say you've got the main part of the route, you've got kind of grass patches around and trees and bushes and stuff, but then you can explore off to the right here. You've got a clearing, you've got a cave. I would have certain Pokemon available in the run through bit, and then you'd have different Pokemon, slightly different Pokemon available in the trees part, a different Pokemon available in the clearing, and then different Pokemon available in the cave. Like, animals form territories And I would love to see some of that in Pokemon games, where it's like, rather than just walking into a route and you just like run around the same patch of grass and all the Pokemon live in the same spot, it's like, well, you know, the Rattata love to live over here, and the Pidgey are more in the trees over here, and this Pokemon's over here, and that sort of thing, where it's like, you've got that, and then you can have the rarity factor. So let's take Viridian Forest, because it's easy to think of right now. Be like, your Caterpies and your Butterfrees probably don't live particularly close to the Weedles, Kakoonas, and Beedrills, because those two species won't get along very much. You know, they'd be competing, so they'd be in different parts of the forest. And then your Bulbasaurs and your Pikachus would be very, very rare, and probably in only very specific places. And so you'd have to like try and find those places. Like, you'd have to like, maybe there's some information that you can find out about these rare Pokemon, or you just look it up online or whatever, where it's like, oh, it only spawns in this portion of the Viridian Forest. You know, things like that would be so much cooler for exploration and just immersiveness. Like, this is a real world with real animals, kind of, that are forming territories and stuff like that. Like, putting some thought into that, I think, would make such a big difference to the entire thing, really. Like, to me that would be so much more fun. Like, it would make the exploring more fun, the collecting more fun, the general playthrough more fun. You could like really customize the visuals and stuff like that to be like so cool and immersive. Yeah. And I think one of the other things that ZA doesn't do very well, and I'm going to be addressing this in one of my upcoming videos as well for the Wild Zones, is considering things like, you've just locked a bunch of Pokemon in here, but what are they going to eat and what are they going to drink and where are they going to sleep? Yeah. Like things like that, you know, like they need food to survive, they need water to survive, they need shelter. Different Pokemon would have different things. Birds would have nests, you know, like you wouldn't find Pidgey only in nests, but it'd be cool that like Pidgey exist in the trees, and in the trees you might see nests, you know. And maybe there is maybe sometimes the nest has a Pidgey in it or something like that. But if they could do things like that, and then, like I said, keep it to like a route by route basis, I think that would be a very cool way to bring some real immersion to the game. You can still have the open world field by letting people just go through all the routes in any order that they want, you know, and as they go through, they'll be able to fly to the Pokemon centers they've visited and stuff, but you can trek all the way around and go explore things, and there'll be some parts of it are over leveled in comparison to others and stuff like that. That's fine. But I think it would be better doing it in that route by route way rather than just doing a big open world, because the big open world is obviously open. You've got a whole bunch of like empty space you've got to fill, which can be really hard to make it meaningful, which I think Scarlet and Violet really fell into poorly. I think, like, I haven't played, like I said, I haven't played Legends Arceus yet. I've seen a lot of people, like, I've watched a lot of shiny hunting in Legends Arceus. I think the fact that they broke it up into areas rather than just one big open world map was probably for the better. I don't necessarily think that it looks the most visually engaging within an area, because it's still kind of just open space and some trees overall. But I think it's in the right direction. But there should be a lot more level design put into those spaces and the choosing where Pokemon spawn and stuff like that, that would just really crank it up a notch. So that's kind of the thing that it's probably unlikely, but it's the thing that I hope for Generation 10. So we'll see, but regardless, my mentality moving forward is I love Pokemon because I love the Pokemon themselves, and I'm going to endeavor to enjoy a game in whatever rendition of Pokemon that gives me. I'm just hoping that it's closer to Legend ZA and further away from Scarlet and Violet. Because if it's just another Scarlet and Violet, that's going to be rough. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I'm looking forward to a new region. I don't really have any thoughts on where I think a new region should be set. Obviously, I'd love to see a region based on Australia and New Zealand, particularly New Zealand. Some could argue that it's like, well, they've done Hawaii. What's the difference? And it's like, well, they borrowed the odd animal from all sorts of islands, but the habitats here are very different from Hawaii, and I'd just like to see a lot of there hasn't been a New Zealand animal as a Pokemon yet. That would just be fun. In fact, I saw a very cool fan region based off New Zealand. They released like the map and the starter Pokemon, one of which is a Kiwi, and gorgeous work. But beyond that, like I don't know where I might want Pokemon to go. Like, obviously we've done parts of Japan, we've done America, we've done parts of Europe. I think it would be very cool to go to India or China, I think, because both of those countries in particular have been referenced in Pokédex entries previously. Like, I think, was it Raichu's Dex entry previously talked about how it could take down an Indian elephant, I think. And then was it Arcanine that had mention of China? I don't remember now, but two of them did, and Raichu's ones I think are swapped from saying Indian elephant or just elephant to Koparaja, which is an elephant but has some very strong Indian vibes to it. And I think there could be some really cool stuff from like Chinese folklore and mythology and stuff. And I do like the, like, my favorite regions are probably the original Japanese regions. I couldn't exactly say why. I think I just find them more interesting because it's such a different culture representation to what I'm used to. But I think either of those would be cool, like taking some of those lore points from Pokédex entries and going, cool, let's make a region there now. I would love to see, actually, something that I think would be cool to see in Gen 10 is I want the region to be the region where Corphish and Crawdon originated from. So their Dex entries state that they aren't from the Hoenn region and they adapted to the region, which implies they came from somewhere else, and we haven't seen that somewhere else. So Gen 10 would be a cool time to bring that through, and because I like those Pokemon, I think that would be really neat. Actually, that's another Pokemon that I really like the shiny of, is Crawdon. So that would be another thing I think would be kind of cool, is like some of those other things where it's like Pokédex entries just relating to other regions and being like, cool, let's make that region now, you know. But as a whole, I'm just looking forward to it. Like, ZA has been the first Pokemon game that I have played at launch for years. Most of the time I'm very behind in getting the games because I never prioritized playing games of any sort. I was always kind of like, you should be doing other stuff, not spending money on this. Whereas I have learned in the last couple of years, like, this is how I rest. This is how I de-stress and stuff like that. So ZA was my first game where I purposed to buy it at launch and experience it fresh from the get-go. And it was so good. So I'm just looking forward to being able to get this next game at launch and do the same thing. That's the main thing for me at the moment. All right, I think we're going to make this the final check for today. I have some stuff. Oh, come on. Get fixed. There we go. Got some other stuff I need to do. Hopefully. Let's see. Okay, well, you're not shiny. That's fine. Don't need you to be. You can just go. You still haven't shined, which is kind of funny. Let's have a look. Nope. Oh, we have a shiny Haunter. Oh my gosh. I can't tell if that one in the back there. It kind of looks a different color, but it doesn't look different enough. Well, we have a phase. You haven't shined. Shiny Haunter. No. No more shiny monkeys. What about the Fletchling? Did you shine? No. Good. Oh, man. Oh, let's get back to the roof. I'll save up there. Oh, well. Is there anything else within the 50 meter? Is there anything up there? Can't see anything. You haven't shined. Nothing else will reach over there. Gosh. That tree was barely within range. Yeah, so there's nothing else over here. No, we didn't get our target in this first stream, so I have to come back. But what do we get? We did get a shiny Panpour, shiny Ghastly, shiny Pansear, and a shiny Haunter. So, not bad. One of these Pokemon I do need, being Panpour. So that'll be good. But, hey, that is just how it rolls sometimes. So, hey, thanks for sticking around for the stream and trying to find this shiny. Really looking forward to the being able to collect all these shinies, and the artwork that we're going to create from this is going to be a lot of fun. If you have any ideas for those other characters, again, where are they? Here we go. So we're currently hunting for our Druid, but if you have any ideas for better options for the fighter, the cleric, the rogue, wizard, and the bad guy, please do let me know. That's going to be it's going to be flexible. If you got some better ideas than that, yeah, we can go for those. That's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, thank you for joining, and yeah, we'll see you another time, I think. So yeah, catch you later.